We're here to explain the delta or relative function that you'll find on meters, and we're using the Fluke-87.5 as the example. One of the main reasons for the delta or relative mode is when I have a set of lead resistance on test leads. Any set of lead is going to have a certain amount of resistance, so I have 0.4 ohms that are in these leads. If I want to measure something accurately, I either have to mentally subtract that, or if I hit the relative mode, it takes that reading and it makes it 0. So now everything I measure will have that subtracted out of it, and I'll get a more true reading. Another good use for the relative mode is if I want to see a voltage drop between the source and the load. I can go to the source, hit the relative mode, it goes to 0. If I then go out to the load and I read minus 10 volts, then I know I have a 10 volt voltage drop between the source and the load. So that can be a very handy function. This function, though, can be combined with several other functions within the Fluke-87 to help you troubleshoot some more complex problems. I'm just going to plug in, go to our sine wave. So here we have a 117 volt sine wave. So if I was going to go to the source and then hit the relative, that goes to 0. If I now went out to the load and saw minus 10 volts, I would know I would have a voltage drop. But this, as I said, this function can be combined with a couple other ones. Right now, we're looking at 118 volts, which is the RMS value of this sine wave. If I hit the peak min max mode, now with the fast peak mode, I can actually measure the peak at 167 volts. And with min max, I can hit that, and now I hit the negative 166 volts. Where the relative mode comes in is I can now make this negative a 0. So if I hit relative, that becomes 0, and now I'm measuring the peak to peak of 330 volts of this sine wave by using a combination of the fast min max and the relative mode. Where for a sine wave this might not be so handy, when you're working on a square wave coming off an encoder, what you really want to see is this 0 to 5 volts, is it 0 to 12 volts? So by having that relative mode and the peak min max, you'll be able to check your square waves a whole lot better. So that's how we can use the relative mode on the Fluke-87 to troubleshoot a number of different situations that we're working on.